Hello everyone, my name's Neophyte Gamer, and today we're going to be looking at a little project I've been working on that I like to call Slingshot. Slingshot is a puzzle platformer combined with classical FPS elements and advanced movement. Slingshot is being made in Unreal Engine 4 and tries to combine the fluid movement of games like Titanfall 2 with the interesting physics puzzles of games like Half-Life or Portal. It's quite an interesting mix, and I'm really excited to work on it in the future. One thing about Slingshot you may notice is that I've decided to omit the classical double jump and sprint mechanics of most other shooters, at least in the 2020s. The decisions for this were simply because the player already has a lot of interesting options to make themselves faster and jump higher. Some options we will be going over shortly, as in right now. The main puzzle element of Slingshot, and also the player's greatest asset to his or her movement, is things I like to call singularities. I will admit, I don't have a proper name for them yet. But essentially, what they do is they either pull things in or push them away. Green singularities draw stuff in, and can be used as a precise way of moving an object to a specific point, the player included. Orange singularities, on the other hand, push everything away from them, so they can be extremely useful for giving an object, the player included, a lot of momentum in a very short amount of time. Now moving on to the fun stuff. The player has 5 weapons at their disposal as of right now. I really don't want to create too many weapons just to keep things simple and clean. The 3 weapons that the player can have on them at any particular time are the pistol, rifle, and shotgun, both with a special alternate fire mode that can be activated by aiming down the sights. The pistol is the first weapon the player will receive, and it's a standard semi-automatic 12-round magazine sidearm. The nice thing about the pistol is it has infinite ammo, but does not have a bottomless clip, so the player will never be without a weapon. The pistol also features a charge shot on ADS, which will drain the magazine's capacity but also will deal much higher damage than a standard shot. The next weapon in the player's arsenal is the pulse rifle, or assault rifle. I haven't decided what I want to call it yet. Anyway, it's a very consistent automatic option with a moderate spread and a 36-round capacity. Aiming down the sights switches the rifle to a 3-round burst, which is much more precise than the standard automatic fire. It also is good for conserving your ammunition while still being able to put a pretty decent volume of fire downrange. The shotgun is exactly what it says on the tin, 9 pellets in a very wide spread, though aiming down the sights reduces the spread so you can have more damage on a single target. Now let's move on to the big guns. These will be dropped by more powerful enemies and will serve as a treat for the player, considering that the player cannot keep them in their inventory. Simply throw them back on the ground where they found it. The chain gun is an automatic monster. It shreds through both enemies and ammunition at an alarmingly fast rate. Its alternate fire is quite interesting, I must say, and it is experimental. If you hold down your aim down sight button, it will lock enemies or physics objects that you look at in place, effectively chaining them to whatever. It's an experimental feature, I will admit, but I think it would be a very interesting addition to the more puzzle aspect of the game. The final weapon in the player's arsenal is the explosives launcher. It doesn't need to do much more than the name implies. If you were to simply fire it from the hip, it behaves like a grenade launcher, and if you aim down sights, it behaves like a rocket launcher. The projectiles have a fairly sizable blast radius, and can be great for clearing out tightly knit groups of enemies very quickly. Speaking of enemies, let's take a look at the 2 enemies I've successfully programmed into the game right now. There are a lot of others that I plan on implementing, but I'll discuss them in a later video. The Scorpion is a flying enemy that will shoot at the player once it gets close enough. Now, the interesting thing is with the 2 enemies that I have implemented, is I have done 0 animation work on them. It's all physics driven, which is kind of interesting. The other more annoying enemy that I've implemented is the fish. You can see them working in my first video covering this game. They just try and go toward the player and blow up in its face. So, yeah, they're annoying. It's a video game trope, I know. So, that just about covers it. Player movement and weapons, I am actually pretty happy with. If you have any features that you'd like to see in this game, I'm still working on it, and I probably still will be working on it for a while. So, leave your suggestions in the comment section below. And if you like what you see, you know what to do. I hope. Please prove me right.